Hi everyone, welcome to your week 3 character strength video for Shine On. My name is Kristen.
I'm Amanda.
And we are going to be learning all about optimism this week. And our topic is the stars are the limit. Amanda, I have been trying to see the stars for so long and I just can't see them. I go out and check every night. I guess I should just give up.
Maybe you should try again one more night.
Okay, I guess. Oh my gosh, you were right. I can see the stars. That's amazing. Wow, they are so beautiful.
So you saw that Kristen was really optimistic when she finally was able to see the stars because she was thinking positively and was looking for the good in seeing those stars that one more night.
So how can you show optimism? So if it's rainy and cloudy outside and you're feeling pretty pessimistic, which means you're thinking negatively, it's like the opposite of optimism. You can think positively and think, maybe the sun's gonna come out later in the day, or the rain is giving me a chance to see a rainbow later in the day. So try practicing optimism every day and think about how can I turn a bad situation into a good situation. So we are going to read a book called Margot and the Moon Landing. And Margot is a young girl who loves outer space. She's fascinated by it. And we're going to look at, as we're reading, how Margot and her mom show optimism in the story. So be thinking about how you see optimism throughout the book.
Every day and most nights, Margot read and reread her favorite books. They were all about space travel. Her mother tried to convince her to read different books about robots or gorillas or princesses, but she soon gave up. Margot was only interested in one thing.
Whenever Margot learned a new fact, she would share it with everyone she met. Did you know that the first creatures sent to space were fruit flies? She said at dinner. That's nice, sweetheart, said her mother. Make sure to finish all your dal and rice.
The first man on the moon were named Neil and Buzz. She told her teacher, a little louder than usual, just to make sure she was heard. The teacher was unimpressed. Please pay attention, Margot, he said. We are learning about arithmetic right now.
During lunch break, the children went outside to play. Margot brought her books with her. Do you want to join us for kickball? The other girls asked Margot. In outer space, the astronauts eat special food squeezed out of tubes, Margot said, holding open her book in case anybody doubted her. But the girls didn't even look at the page. They had already started dividing up the teams.
Later that night, Margot didn't have to think about dinner or math or the schoolyard. She could read about space until lights out, and then read even later and under the covers, shining her blue flashlight on the page. Margot fell asleep, wishing and never had to talk about anything but space.
When she woke up, Margot went down to the kitchen table where her mother was preparing breakfast. Good morning, Margot, said her mother. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Margot had meant to say, good morning.
Eat your oatmeal, dear, said her mother. Margot tried to ask for a spoon. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. It was no use. Every time she opened her mouth, all that came out were transmissions from Neil Armstrong's 1969 mission to the moon. That's nice, sweetheart, was all her mother said. Hurry up or you'll be late for school.
Margot, please answer the question on the board, said her teacher. For once, she knew the answer. It was an easy question. The surface is fine and powdery. I can kick it up loosely with my toe. Surely her teacher would realize something was wrong. Instead, he said, Margot, please pay attention. The answer is clearly 7.
Throughout the day, Margot grew increasingly frustrated. The kids on the playground didn't notice anything unusual during recess. The gym teacher told Margot to pipe down. The school nurse simply gave her a glass of water and sent her back to class.
By the end of the day, Margot felt like crying. She went into her bedroom and slammed the door. Margot inhaled deeply, opened her mouth, and let everything gush out. There is a plaque on the front landing gear of this lunar module. First, there's 2 hemispheres, one showing each of the 2 hemispheres of the Earth. Underneath it says, here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind.
That did it. Margot grabbed a marker. She knew she wasn't supposed to write on the walls, but she could no longer care. Writing out her feelings felt good. She kept going.
Every word she scrawled somehow made her feel lighter. Soon, a whole wall filled up. Margot got lost in her writing. She forgot about the rest of the world. When her mother came into the room, Margot didn't even notice. She wrote, I'm mad. Nobody listens. Apollo forever. Rest in peace, Leica. Why am I so different from the other kids? I just want to read all day. I had friends. I wish I had friends. I'm sad. I wish people would listen. I hate this. Everything is dumb. School is boring.
Margot, her mom said, what on earth are you doing in here? Margot waited for something to happen, but instead her mother got very quiet. She read all the words on the wall and then read them again.
Her mother read the words and then wrote, I hear you.
Margot started to clean the walls with the corner of her sleeve. Her mother rested her hand on her shoulder. I have a better idea. Margot's mom came back from the basement carrying buckets of colorful paint. Together, they transformed the wall into a deep galaxy blue. They added a moon and some stars and even a rocket ship.
On the other wall, Margot's mom taped 2 large sheets of paper. The piece de resistance, she explained, so you always have a place on the wall to write your thoughts. I'm hungry, said Margot. Can we have spaghetti for dinner? Margot wasn't sure exactly when her voice came back, but she was glad she had someone there to hear it.
So look at how cool her room is now. She has her rocket ships. She has a nice place to write down all her feelings. She's coloring in her book, and she can read all her books that she wants to now.
And that is the end. So how did Margot and her mom show optimism in the video? So take a second to think about it. And some of the ideas that Amanda and I came up with were that Margot thought positively. So if you remember back to the beginning of the story, Margot was reading about space at night with a flashlight. So she wasn't allowed to read during the day, but she thought positively and was optimistic and thought, well, I can read late at night under my covers with a flashlight and read even after the lights go out at night.
Another reason is she found the good in a bad situation. So remember when she was writing on the walls, she knew wasn't supposed to do it, but it felt really good to write that down. So instead of her mom getting mad at her mom brought up the paint from the basement and they turned a bad situation into a good situation and made this whole beautiful mural for her in her wall and a great space for her to write down all her stuff.
And another reason is that she never gave up. So her mom, her teacher, and Margot's friends didn't listen to her, especially when they were on the playground. No one wanted to hear what she had to say. They just wanted to go play their games. But she continued to talk about space, and even if those people didn't want to listen, she didn't let that make her passion go away. She was still passionate about space, and eventually people started to listen to her, like her mother.
So how can astronauts show optimism? So take a second and think about it. So 2 things that we came up with is staying positive about their mission. So it's sometimes really hard to become an astronaut. They go through a lot of training. They have to practice before they go to space because they can't come back. They go up one time. They have to do all their training down on Earth first. So it can be really hard sometimes. They might want to give up, but they keep going and they think, okay, but I really want to go to space, so I'm going to keep doing it. And they learn from their mistakes. So if they realize, oh wait, I can't go into the capsule yet until they say so, then I have to listen and remember that for next time.
So now that you've learned all about optimism, and from the book, we got some great examples of some questions we can ask the astronauts when you do the downlink in a few weeks. So a question that we were wondering after reading, and maybe you were too, is why do astronauts need to eat their food out of a tube? We saw that Margot said that astronauts have to eat it out of a tube, but why? So this is a picture that we found of an example of one of the tubes that their food might come in. So maybe you can ask the astronauts this question, or if you think of a different question that came up in the book about Margot that you want to ask the astronauts, make sure to think of those questions and have your teachers submit them so maybe the astronauts can answer those questions during the downlink. And also don't forget to think about how you can show optimism too, and make sure every day you're practicing being optimistic and thinking positively. And thank you so much for listening.